What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Arrival Entertainment, and today we're going to be talking about the new film produced by, directed by, and starring Clint Eastwood, Cry Macho. Cry Macho stars Clint Eastwood. He also produced and directed the film, like I mentioned earlier, and it tells a story about a former rodeo star, played by Eastwood, who takes a job from his ex-boss to bring his son back from Mexico to Texas. And along the way, he grows a bond with this kid and eventually rediscovers things about himself. I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan. I haven't seen all of his movies, but I have seen quite a bit of them. I love the Dirty Harry movies, even though the last two weren't all that good. Of course, the Man with No Name trilogy is iconic. I love Gran Torino. That's probably one of my favorite movies of all time, and I was a fan of the movie The Mule. I know a lot of people didn't like that movie, but I thought it was enjoyable. He's a great actor, and he's proven himself to be a pretty good director. So with him producing, directing, and starring in this movie, and this movie being another Western with him, it goes without saying that, yeah, I really wanted to see this movie. I only saw one trailer at the movie theater, and I wasn't really paying attention to it because I didn't want to know really anything about this movie going into it. I knew the basics. It was like a road trip movie, and Clint Eastwood has to bring this kid back from Mexico, but that's really all I wanted to know about it. And even that was more than I wanted to know about it. But I was still excited to see this movie, even though it got some pretty mixed reviews. I was like, I'm not going to listen to that. I want to see this movie, and I'll still go see it because, like I said, I'm a big Clint Eastwood fan. And honestly, there's a lot to like in Cry Macho. The film does feel like a reflection piece for Clint Eastwood. Looking back on his old westerns and, his golden years as an actor, I guess you can say, even though he's still around and still relevant today, his younger years as a western star, it does feel like it's a callback to those movies. I mean, it obviously is a callback, telling a different story. I know the movie is based on a book, but the movie, when you watch it, it does feel like Clint Eastwood's reminiscing back to his classic westerns when he was younger. It goes without saying that Eastwood is great in the movie, I think. I mean, the guy's been acting longer than I've been alive, so if he gave a bad performance in this movie, I'd be a little concerned. But he didn't. He sold every moment on screen. He's got a lot of great one-liners. If you're a fan of Clint Eastwood's one-liners, he's got quite a bit of good ones in this movie that really made me chuckle and made the audience chuckle too. He has good chemistry with the young kid in the movie. He's got good chemistry with another group of characters in a side plot that I'm not going to mention because I don't think the trailers mentioned it, at least from what I remember seeing of that trailer. So he's got good chemistry with all the actors in the movie, and he's definitely a highlight of the movie. All the focus is really on him and this kid, and thankfully that camaraderie and their chemistry together, it was the strongest part of the movie, honestly. Now, this is a Western, and the film definitely has a Western look to it. In fact, the movie has a lot of bright, outdoor, desert-style locations and cinematography, and that was so nice to see. The movie was shot very well. The soundtrack was Western-like too, and that with the cinematography, it all blended very well. This movie is an easy watch, which is something that was refreshing to see. Yes, I do like when movies tell you to pay attention to their plot, and you have to pay attention to this little detail and this little detail because when you see the bigger picture, it makes for a bigger and better experience. But every now and then, it's okay to watch a movie that's just an easy watch. You don't have to pay attention to it. I mean, it's recommended you pay attention to it, obviously, but you just put this on and you just casually watch it and you're entertained by it. It's refreshing to see those movies every now and then, and I think Cry Macho did that pretty well. That can also be a downside for this movie, however, because there really isn't a big of a threat or greater stakes for Clint Eastwood and this kid bringing him from Mexico to Texas. I'm trying to dance around as spoiler-free as I can, but the movie does set up that this kid's mother is someone you don't really want to mess with, and she's got some connections, at least it feels like it, and it built that up. And the father, again, spoiler-free, when he gives the real reason why he wants this kid back, on top of the fact that he does want to see his kid and he wants to raise his kid, well, not raise his kid, but he wants to see his kid. Once you find out the main reason he wants his kid back, it's like, okay, it feels like there's stakes being built up. But then the movie ends and there wasn't really a big payoff with any of that. There was even a character that does follow them throughout the movie, and he does seem like a villainous threat, and even he really doesn't have that big of a payoff. There is one more confrontation with Clint Eastwood, the kid, and this guy who you were to believe is kind of like an antagonist who's supposed to follow them in the desert when they get to the border or whatever, but it was just wrapped up very quickly, and it didn't really feel like it had that big of a payoff. And really quickly, Rotten Tomatoes said that this movie is like 2 hours and 1 minute or 2 minutes long or something like that. So when it felt like the movie was starting to wrap up, I checked my watch and I was like, oh, there's another like 15 or 20 minutes left of the movie. And then like 2 minutes later, the movie just ends. Like the credits start rolling and I went like, wait, really? And then I looked it up and the movie's advertised on Google and other websites as an hour and 40 minutes long, or 45 minutes, something like that. So Rotten Tomatoes, you gotta fix your timing on that movie there. And driving home from the theater, looking back on it, I was like, yeah, that was a enjoyable movie. I enjoyed a lot of the movie, and it is a very easy watch. It is a movie I want to see again, but looking back on it, it's like, it feels like there was some stuff cut out from the movie. I can't confirm that there was. In fact, if I had to take a guess, I'd say probably not. But when you look at the movie and how it ended, it feels like there was supposed to be like 15 or even 20 minutes of the movie that was supposed to be in there to kind of wrap up a couple things here and there. And there wasn't that. I don't think we're going to get a director's cut or an extended cut on DVD or Blu-ray in the future. But if there were to be one, then maybe the ending might feel more fulfilled, I guess, because you do get some fulfilling parts of the ending with the kid, the father, and then Clint Eastwood, and with a subplot. Like I said, I'm not going to mention that subplot just in case you don't know. But then you look back on it and it's like, there's still some scenes missing that I feel like could have wrapped everything up a little bit better. You know what I'm trying to say? If you've seen the movie, let me know in the comment section if you had that same feeling too. Did you feel like that there was like 15 or even 20 minutes of the movie that should have been put in this movie but wasn't? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Clint Eastwood and the kid in the movie, they do have really good chemistry together. They bounce off of each other very well. Clint Eastwood would throw an insult at him and the kid would throw an insult right back. It would go back and forth. And like I said, they had good chemistry. However, the kid's performance, I don't know if he's done more acting in the past. I don't recognize this kid or his name, but he was a little wooden in this movie, and it took me out of the movie a couple times when he would say his lines of dialogue. It did get better as the film went along, but he did seem wooden a couple times, even though he had good chemistry with Clint Eastwood. But honestly, overall, I think the positives do outweigh the negatives more in this movie. Like I said, this movie is a very easy watch. You can put on this movie and you can casually watch this movie. If you have to like pause it and go do something real quickly, you can come back to it with no problem. You're not gonna really miss anything. It is a very relaxing movie. If you were like home on a Friday or Saturday night or even a Sunday night and you had nothing to do, you could put on Cry Macho, and I think that's where this movie mainly belongs. Is it one of Clint Eastwood's best movies? No, not really, but it is one of his more entertaining movies looking back on the whole thing. Like I said, there's a lot of good moments in the movie. Clint Eastwood has a lot of great one-liners. Visually, it's nice to look at. It's edited pretty well too. And yeah, it's got a couple issues. Like I said, it doesn't really feel like it has much of a threat or stakes or an antagonist, and the ending does feel like there were some stuff missing. But again, in my opinion, the positives do outweigh the negatives, and it is a movie I would recommend, especially if you're a Clint Eastwood fan and you're like, I don't know about this type of story for Clint Eastwood. I think it worked out pretty well. The film is worth checking out, and I do recommend the movie, but I do recommend checking it out when it comes to the Redbox. It doesn't have that emotional punch that I was hoping it would have, like, say, Gran Torino, and it's not like that big epic Western style like the Man with No Name trilogy. Like I said before, it is an easy watch, but I don't really think you gotta rush out to the theater to see it or hurry up and watch it on HBO Max. You can take your time with this one. So that's my review for Cry Macho. Just like always, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the movie down in the comments section. And for me, this is the end of the summer movie season. We're now into the fall movies. So let me know in the comment section, what movies in the fall are you looking forward to the most? I'm very excited to see No Time to Die. I'm very excited to see Halloween Kills, and I really want to see The Last Duel. those are probably my 3 main movies I'm going to be checking out this fall. But whatever your thoughts on everything is, let me know down in the comment section. And just like always, guys, thank you again as always for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and share it. Subscribe right here if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, take care.